Mic check, mic check, mic check.
I've made a new set. It's a bit I'm outside, kind of. I hope this mic works. So what's up guys, welcome back to another video. I thought I'd talk to you today about giving up alcohol. So it's 2022 now, and I've decided that I'm going to give up alcohol for a year. Basically, over the last few years, I've been drinking less and less.
So we don't have the capacity.
I kind of had this idea of doing this challenge, not drinking for an entire year for quite a while. I just thought it'd be a good challenge really. For the last few years actually I wanted to do it, but 2022 I thought yeah, let's do it. It's like the 7th or 8th now. I'm already into the challenge. Yeah, I thought I'd share my thoughts with you guys just about my reasons why. I've got reasons why I'm doing it, but I'm not an alcoholic or there's nothing wrong with me in that sense. I just thought it would be good to try and do the challenge. A year is long enough for it to be a good challenge, be able to really see the impact of not drinking. I suppose a year gives you something to be proud of. When I get asked for a drink, and I'm sure I will, it gives me that barrier to sort of say to people, look, I'm sorry, I can say no, I've got this challenge, I'm doing it for a year and stick to my guns. So first of all, a bit of context. I used to drink a lot when I was younger, just like most people did, 18, 19, 20. I was out 2 or 3 nights a week. But it's only in the last few years really that I've started to think critically about booze, to start to examine my relationship with drink. Like the last few years, I really haven't drunk that much at all. It's because I've started to think about my relationship with it and everyone's relationship with it and the impact it has on us. And I've just started to think about it more critically, I guess. So a little bit about my issue with booze personally. I have quite an addictive personality. Once I start, I can't seem to stop. That's kind of one of my issues with it. Like once I start drinking and I have a few, I find it difficult to stop. It's kind of like I'm all in. If I'm drinking, then I'm drinking and I'm really getting but then if I'm not drinking, I'm not drinking and I won't touch it. But it's not like a massive issue. I'm certainly not addicted to alcohol or anything like that. I struggle once I start. Once I get on the sauce, I sort of struggle. I'll be honest, like it's got me into trouble, or it nearly got me into trouble quite a few times actually. Although not in the last few years, but definitely when I was younger. But I've ended up in situations where I've definitely taken it too far. I've had to question like if it's really how I want to behave and this sort of thing. So these are from years ago, but here's a few examples. Number 1, I got arrested in the Isle of Man when I was 18 for criminal damage. I had to go to court and I got sentenced. Climbed a bridge in Manchester at 4 o'clock in the morning, which would have killed me if I'd have fallen down. I got arrested in Nottingham when I was younger for criminal damage. Luckily I got away with that with only a warning. Number 4, I woke up in the middle of a traffic island with no shoes, no wallet, no phone, about 5 miles away from my house. In England in 2018, 82% of adults drank in the past 12 months. 51% of adults reported that they drunk at least once a week. The statistics show that we don't actually drink much more than other European countries, but when it comes to binge drinking, we're one of the worst nations for it. So it's that level of drunkenness. We just basically get so and so all the time. This for me is where the main issue lies. It's so part of who we are and it's so caught up in our identity that it's actually difficult to think critically about it. It's difficult to examine our relationship with it because it's so natural, so normal, so part of our culture, so part of our everyday life. It's difficult to like take a step back from it and think, is this having a big impact on my life? Is it having a negative impact on my life? When it's so caught up in who we are, it's difficult to analyse it in that way. And this is another problem, like there's always another opportunity to drink. There's always another social event, there's always another sporting event, there's always another football match, there's always another night out, boys night out, girls night out, there's always this, there's always a works drink event, there's always this event, there's always another opportunity to drink, and that's why it's so difficult to get away from it, because it's so caught up in who we are. It's part of our identity, it makes up who we are, it's how we socialise, it's how we relax, it's just such a big part of who we are. Right then, so let's actually get into the reasons of why I'm stopping drinking for a year. So I've got 5 or 6 reasons as to why I'm going to stop for a year. So yeah, let's get into it. Number one, this is money. Now, I'm trying to save all the money I can this year. So yeah, that's reason number one. This is the biggest factor for me, hands down. Care about money. I don't like spending money. I hate spending money on booze. Every time I have a few beers, get boozed up, the next day, I hate looking back at my bank balance and seeing all these transactions where I've bought drinks. I don't like seeing that. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, that is being hungover and the wastage of time that follows. So firstly, this might sound quite dramatic, but I cannot deal with a hangover. I just struggle so much. I just lie in bed, can't face the world, so I end up sitting in my bed all day, just lying there like an absolute waste man. And it makes me feel 10 times worse by the end of the day. I can't even bring myself to go out of the house. I would so much rather be mentally in control and not feel like So the problem is, whenever you have a heavy night on the booze, it's not just the next day, like not for me anyway. The hangover carries on for 2 or 3 days now, and I can't bring myself to waste that much time. I can't bring myself to dedicate that much time to booze. I can't do it. I touched on this earlier, but thirdly, the effects of booze and the bad habits that carry on as a result. So you end up getting a takeaway the next day, you end up eating like for the next few days afterwards. So it's all the knock-on habit, you know, the knock-on negative behaviours that booze has that I struggle with as well. So reason number 3, and that is that alcohol puts you behind in other areas of your life. I'm going to give you a real example here. Sundays in summer, I often go out for a ride, perhaps finish at 1, 2 o'clock. Now at this point, a few people go to the pub. Now, I've done this a few times, and obviously you start getting on the saucy, you know, and it's fun. But the thing is, once you've had sort of 3 or 4 pints and you start to feel it, I mean, I feel it after a sip. But once you've had a few pints and you start to feel it, you're now not doing that other shit. This is how I see it. So I cook all my food, and Sunday is a day where I religiously cook my food for the week. Now, if I don't do this life admin, if I don't do this cooking on a Sunday, when Monday morning rolls around, I feel so on the back foot. It just throws me out. Like, this is what the problem is for me. If I'd have just gone home after the ride and not gone to the pub, I would have got home and cooked all my food ready for the week. But instead, I went and, you know, had a few beers. Now, it sounds like I'm being hard on myself. I understand that. But my point is, drinking puts you back. Reason number 5 is what I'm calling the opportunity cost of drinking. There is arguably always an opportunity cost when you spend your time drinking. So, sounds pretty obvious, of course. And I sort of touched on it in the last point. When you're drinking, you're not doing other stuff, are you? Obviously. One-time drinking is obviously not going to affect your life in any way, you know, but it's the cumulative effect that is the issue. So I'm going to say that again, it's the cumulative effect of drinking that I have the issue with and that scares me. So if you added up all the time that you spent in a boozer, all the time you spent drinking, even in the last year, think about every single time, every single hour you spent either drinking, in the pub, out somewhere drinking. If you add all of that time up, that is what scares me. All of the money you spending that much time doing something that is not that good for you, you know, it makes you feel like and it costs you loads of money. It's pretty obvious that it's not a good thing to do. Do you know what I mean? Of course, life has to be about balance. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. But for me, whenever I have a drink, I always think, whenever I'm drinking, I always think, oh, I should be doing this now. Like, think of all the things that I should be doing. That's just how I see it, so it's difficult. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. That's my video on why I'm giving up alcohol for a full year. I hope you've got a bit of value from this video. If you have done, then please give me a bit of a like and a subscribe even. Yeah, subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching again, guys. Cheers.